Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, where today we are featuring the Tier 7 premium German light tank, the AwfulPanther, more commonly known as the AwfulPanther for two reasons. One, it wasn't particularly effective, although it was fun, and also it's a damn sight easier to say than Panther, although it could have been significantly worse. There was a prototype artillery observation version of this tank called the, wait for it, Panzerbeobachtungswagen Panther. Seriously, Germany, stop it. You can't just take a bunch of existing words, string them together and pretend that they're a new word, okay? It doesn't work like that. Anyway, sorry. Playing the AwfulPanther for us today, we have OnTheFritz. Rushing forward to get some spots in the middle of Karelia here. Friendly Type 64 just spotted the enemy setter. The enemy setter apparently doesn't believe in fire extinguishers. He's not really going to burn to death, is he? Oh no, the fire went out. But he's only delaying the inevitable, finished off by the friendly M44 artillery, and here comes the enemy Type 64. OnTheFritz backs up, double or possibly even triple bushes, gets the first shot off, does not get spotted. Closes in, reacquire the target, enemy Type 64 in a lot of trouble. And, oh, there goes the repair kit. Is he going to get away? No, finished off, again, by the friendly M44. That is going to be a recurring theme in this video. That M44, along with OnTheFritz here, are the two heroes of this battle. Which is unusual, because despite being officially a scout tank, the AwfulPanther isn't particularly good at it, on account of being huge and having a terrible camo rating. Because obviously when you're shooting at tanks that at best have 85mm of armour, 144mm of penetration isn't enough. Or possibly I'm being too judgmental. It is, after all, possible that the loader on the T-3485M is in fact King Midas, and everything he touches turns to gold, and he's actually trying to fire regular ammo. But one thing's for sure, as you can see, despite the proliferation of multiple layers of concealment here, he's having a real hard time evading detection. Let's get some shots up there on the Eagle. Oh yes, nice, nice. Finish him, finish him. Right, that should help with his detection issues, because I'm pretty sure the Eagle was spotting him from higher ground. There's the T-3485M. Yeah, like I said, the camera rating on this thing is pretty bad. In fact, I honestly have no real idea why this tank was ever removed from the game in the first place. It's not like it was ever overperforming. It was generally regarded as the worst light tank at its tier. Oh, more gold from King Midas over there in the T-3485M. But while this was by no means regarded as a good light tank, it was a fun light tank for a couple of reasons. First, its size and its weight. This is a 40-ton light tank. There are mediums that are lighter than this thing. And while it wasn't particularly fast, all that weight and mass made it really good at ramming, something that it is still very good at. But the other thing that made it good to play, or fun to play, was that it used to get this very derpy 105mm short-barreled howitzer, which made it just great for blitzing through the enemy lines and assassinating the artillery. So Wargaming did their usual thing, removed the tank from the game for no good reason whatsoever, only so that they could nerf it and then sell it back to you later as a premium. And when I say nerf it, well, take a look at the ammunition choices. There's no high explosive there, is there? This is not a howitzer. It's a 75mm gun. And the only ammunition choices are armour piercing or armour piercing composite rigid. The AP ammunition has 157mm of penetration. The APCR has 205, but it only does 135 alpha damage with both ammunition choices. While the rate of fire is not bad, with 11.54 rounds per minute before you start adding equipment, the DPM is still not that good. And you're not going to be knocking many things out with one shot if you're only doing 135 damage per hit. OnTheFritz here starting to get quite concerned about the northern flank up there, which is being held by a Tiger who still has most of his health, and a Nashorn, and they are receiving artillery support, most notably from that M44. Moving up to try to offer some more direct support. That KV-3 still stuck in the rocks behind him, never going to penetrate that thing's front turret. Even with the APCR ammunition, it would be a bit of a struggle. He's spotted again. Moves back into cover. Not quite sure who it was who spotted him. They've just lost one of their artillery. This is not going particularly well. It's not going particularly badly. But this game is very definitely much still up for grabs. Cautiously moving back up through the bushes. You do have to make maximum possible use of concealment in this thing because its camo rating is so incredibly bad. Unfortunately, the Tiger's now been knocked out, so he needs to definitely give some more direct support to this Nashorn. Okay, the Nashorn wants to share this rock too. Fine, we'll let him. Inched forward, did not get spotted. Encouraging sign, moves up to the next rock. The Super Hellcat's been taken out. He's looking for the Jackson and the T25AT and trying to keep the KV-3 spotted as well. He's trying to do an awful lot here, but most of it's to do with spotting. Not a huge amount of concealment around the next corner. There's the T25AT. Gets a shot in. Thinks about going up after him, but that would be incredibly risky. Exposed on the high ground up there, doesn't have to worry. Friendly Hummel smashes him. And there goes the Jackson. Track's blown off by the enemy M44. Burns the repair kit. Jackson's gun was pointing this way, now isn't. Guns the engine. Kills the Jackson in the drive-by. And then rushes with the Nashorn into the cover provided here by this rocky outcrop. Both of them huddling together, trying to hide from artillery. And it's kind of successful. But also kind of not. Because they didn't get hit by artillery, but that was a high explosive shell from the KV-3 that managed to splash them. Communicating in chat there to the Nashorn. Alright, well, let's go and get the arty. The plan here is OnTheFritz rushes forward and spots them, and the Nashorn kills them for him. Or at least that's the plan. Unfortunately, that Nashorn, while he's certainly willing, we have to give him credit for that, he's not actually particularly effective. Poor guy only does 254 damage this entire game. However, OnTheFritz does have another guardian angel, the friendly artillery in the shape of the M44, who has been so good thus far in finishing off targets that OnTheFritz has spotted. Using his not terribly impressive top speed of around 40 km per hour, OnTheFritz advances around the flank, spotted the enemy M44, takes a shot on the move, unsurprisingly, doesn't hit. But he didn't want to stop in the open. Now he's got the rocks on his flank to protect him. Takes his time with the second shot. M44 finished off by the friendly M44. Not for the first time, and not for the last time either. At the rear of the enemy Crusader there, slams one into the back of his turret. Crusader goes unspotted. Second shot away, and I'm pretty sure that one also hit. Continues the advance, looking for enemy arty. At this point, I'm not sure the enemy team even realised that he's worked his way around the flank and is about to get eyes on their cap circle. Approaching the enemy base. The other bad thing about this machine, by the way, is its horrifically bad gun depression. I mean, you're going to see it demonstrated, but there are Russian and Chinese tanks that look at this thing and think, damn, that's terrible. 4.8 degrees of gun depression over the front, 0 degrees of gun depression over the back. Which means he can spot, but if he doesn't want to get spotted in return, he can't shoot. But well, when you've got somebody like that M44 on the team backing you up, you don't need to shoot. And there's the last enemy arty. So come on, help the brother out. Oh, he has to reload, of course. And there it is. Not a kill. But OnTheFritz can finish him off safely now that he no longer has to worry about getting spotted. Also, he thinks, because there is an enemy Nashorn over there, and he does not have enough health left to take a hit from that thing's 88mm gun. But once again, artillery to the rescue in the shape of that M44, who has been doing an absolutely fantastic job of supporting the spotting that OnTheFritz is doing. And I can't begin to tell you how frustrating it is when you are in a light tank and you are spotting targets, but the rest of the team just aren't interested. For once, it's really refreshing to see this level of cooperation and teamwork between artillery and the light tank doing the spotting. And he knows he's done here, outflanked by the Crusader. However, he did at least make sure he took him with him. And the game now hangs in the balance. Technically, OnTheFritz's team have the advantage, since they do have a 1-kill lead. But half of their surviving tanks are artillery, and they could have a 5-kill lead, but if half of their surviving tanks were artillery, that's still going to make it extremely difficult. Because no matter how good the artillery is, and yes, M44, I'm looking at you, they can only reload and fire so fast. And the enemy team have a pair of heavies and a tank destroyer, one of which has just killed the friendly VK3601H, so they no longer even have the 1-kill advantage. And one of the two surviving artillery, the Hummel, has his ass hanging well out into the breeze because, well, somebody has to cover that southern flank, and this Dickermax is not interested in going out and spotting for anybody, which, to be fair, is not something that he's even slightly suited for because he's in a Dickermax. The Hummel spots the KV-2 and comes so close to killing him. Unfortunately, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. And the Hummel has been outflanked by the Nashorn without the Dickermax spotting him and being able to do anything about it, so that Hummel is probably not going to survive for too much longer. The KV-3, who spent most of the game hiding behind a rock in the middle of the valley, finally starts moving. Come on, Dickermax. Apparently didn't have a shot. The Dickermax somehow manages to miss the KV-3 in the open, and the Hummel does not, scoring another shotgun hit. Unfortunately, that allows him to get outflanked by the KV-2. The Dickermax does finally score a hit on the KV-3, but it's too little and far too late to keep the Hummel in the fight. But what has our hero in the M44 been doing while all this is going on? Well, he's taken advantage of the brief spotting window to try to inflict some more damage on the KV-3, after working his way right around the map, cautiously of course, because he doesn't know where that Nashorn is, and he's now about to enter the enemy cap circle. Although if the Nashorn hadn't spotted him by now, he's almost certainly followed the KV-3 and the KV-2 up to the north. Less than 2 minutes remaining. Enough time to win by capping, providing you don't get spotted and killed or interrupted. Now, the concealment provided by the bunker, rock and bushes up ahead is incredibly obvious, but it is at least slightly less obvious than sitting in the middle of an open cap circle, particularly if anybody's coming back from all the way over there to interrupt, because this is at least going to provide some cover. And credit to the Dickermax, because he has not had an effective game. He's going to have done less than 400 damage overall throughout the entire course of this battle, but he does understand what it is that he needs to do now, and that's prevent, or at least interrupt, the enemy team from counter-capping with multiple vehicles, because if they do that, they can still win. He chooses the KV-2, kills him, immediately takes return fire from the KV-3, who was aiming straight at the bush that he suspected the Dickermax correctly to be in, but the Dickermax's job is done. Now, well, it doesn't really matter whether he lives or dies, but he'd rather live. So he boogies on out of there. Now we can only really cross our fingers and hope that the Nashorn is not heading back to interrupt the cap in the last 35 seconds of this battle. And it's funny, but I recently put up a couple of World of Tanks videos showcasing some extremely rare some extremely rare achievements. The Fade-Ins medal and the Raiders medal. And then suddenly, it seems like every replay I'm opening contains at least one of those two medals. And today's battle is no exception, because the M44 managed to go this entire battle without being spotted once and capped the enemy base from 0 to 100. And that's a Raider medal, and I think that's only the third or possibly fourth time I have ever seen one, so exceptionally well done. Both to him and of course to OnTheFritz, who formed a fantastic light tag spotting artillery killing partnership that was instrumental in this being a victory for OnTheFritz's team. And of course it wouldn't really be fair for me to not offer credit where credit's due, particularly to the friendly Hummel, who also played a fantastic game, and the Dickermax, who definitely did not play a fantastic game, but when the chips were down and he needed to do the right thing at the right time, he absolutely definitely did it. So well done to him too. And I hope you enjoyed today's video, because that is it for today. As always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.